pleasant good morning and a warm welcome to Newsnet on Wholquoi FM 99.5. Newsnet is a production of the News and Current Affairs Department at Wholquoi Communications Incorporated. Today it's Wednesday, December 13, 2017. My name is Augustine Kollie. Here are the top stories. National Elections Commission sets December 26 for the conduct of the presidential runoff election. Liberian Senate summons National Elections Commission to state how it intends to clean up the final registration roll. A Unity Party welcomes runoff election date announced by the National Elections Commission. And away from Liberia, more than 117 people have died in the last week in clashes between two sub-clans in South Sudan, an MP has said. The News Bulletin, the voices of those behind the news, plus the international developments and your comments on our Facebook page, Wholquoi FM Liberia, or packaged. Stay tuned after this break. Thanks for rejoining us. Here now it's the News Bulletin with Wholquoi Yeahgar. Good morning, Yeahgar.
Good morning, Augustine. Good morning to all. The National Elections Commission has set December 26 for the conduct of the presidential runoff election. The election is between the Coalition for Democratic Change and the governing Unity Party. Making the disclosure Tuesday, NEC Chairman Wholquoi said the announcement of the date is in keeping with a mandate from the Supreme Court of Liberia. Chairman Wholquoi has at the same time declared campaign open, stressing that it will end on December 24. Meanwhile, the NEC boss has disclosed that a technical team from ECOWAS was shortly arrived in the country to assist the NEC execute the mandate by the court on the final registration rule. The Liberian Senate has summoned the National Elections Commission to state how it intends to clean up the final registration rule. Members of the Senate voted that the chairman of NEC, Wholquoi, and other commissioners appear next Tuesday, December 19, to state how it intends to treat the issue of electorate with voter cards who are not captured in the voters' roll. The Senate action was triggered by a communication from Senator Steve Zyko of Lofa County. Senator Zyko, in his communication, pleaded with his colleagues to invite the leadership of NEC to tell them how it will handle the mandate from the Supreme Court. The communication was read by the Assistant Secretary of the Senate, Genevieve Massaquoi. The governing United Party has welcomed the runoff election date announced by the National Elections Commission. The party further promised to ensure that the Commission implements the mandate of the Supreme Court. According to Unity Party spokesman Mo Ali, the party remains firm on its call for proper cleaning of the final registration rule as recommended by the High Court. Speaking to the station Tuesday via mobile phone, Ali maintained that the National Elections Commission must operate in the confines of law, stressing the need to respect the order of the Supreme Court. The Unity Party campaign spokesman for the court on supporters of the party to remain peaceful and law-abiding during the entire electoral process. The Executive Director of the National Commission on Disabilities has stressed the need for the rights of people living with disabilities to be respected in the country. Madam Ricardia Dennis said people with disabilities must not be discriminated by their look, but must rather be seen as partners in progress. Serving as keynote speaker at official program marking International Human Rights Day in Bomi County, Madam Dennis appealed for special attention to be given to disabled children in the country. For his part, the acting chairman of the Independent Human Rights Commission, Bartholomew Kollie, called on community dwellers to respect the rights and dignity of everyone. Kollie, however, called on the international community to urgently intervene in the Libyan situation that is causing the rights of Syrian Africans to be violated. A local student-based group, Fennel Students Association, has condemned the recent flocking of 5 of its members by the Student Unification Party, SUB. According to the group, some members of SUB on December 6 surrounded and flogged the guards while they were celebrating a friend who had graduated from the J.R. Faulkner College of Science and Technology at the University of Liberia. Addressing reporters on Tuesday, the group Assistant Secretary General Emmanuel Williams asserted that the SUB members allegedly inflicted severe wounds on the peaceful students for no genuine reason. Williams is further calling on the administration of the University of Liberia and the Liberia National Police to investigate the matter and bring the perpetrators to justice. Meanwhile, when contacted, the leadership of SUB said it would respond to the situation later this week. A 40-year-old woman has been charged and sent to court on allegation of manslaughter. Sarah Siplade was arrested on December 4 this year for allegedly causing the death of John Kono by assaulting him with rocks several times. According to police investigation, defendant Siplade allegedly assaulted Kono to death for inflicting wounds on the head of his 3-year-old daughter. The police report added that the deceased, Kono, and his friends returned from a party, allegedly under the influence of alcohol, raining insult and indiscriminatory threw stones that landed on the little girl. The police investigation further indicated that the action by the late Kono and friends caused panic that led to residents of the Fiaman community to flee away for fear of being hurt. The management of Wholquoi Corporation has sued a dismissed employee of the entity for theft of property. According to the manager of Wholquoi Corporation, S.B. Cooper, Amos Sisse illegally entered the premises of the entity and stole several things, including a generator and wedding machine. Cooper, in his complaint, put the cost of the items at over $33,000 United States dollars. The Monrovia City Court has meanwhile issued a writ of arrest for Amos Sisse. Corporal action followed an order from the National Labor Court for Mosurado County that the land and other properties of Wholquoi Corporation be placed on sale if it fails to pay the benefit of Amos Sisse. The Labor Court, in its writ of execution issued on Monday, instructed its sheriff to seize the property of Wholquoi Corporation until the company pays the amount of $33,362 United States dollars as benefit to Sisse. Cross sections of citizens in District 5, Maigibi County, are expressing fear over open and abandoned holes in the area. According to the citizens, the abandoned holes in their various communities are posing threat to residents in the district. They explained to our reporter that local authorities in the county have ignored several appeals aimed at closing up the pop holes. The Maigibi District 5 residents further described the presence of the holes as a death trap for them and their school-going children, stressing the need for prompt solution. Our Maigibi County reporter Emmanuel Sensi quotes, the residents are saying the open abandoned holes, if not quickly closed, will prevent developmental activities in the district. And the vice standard bearer of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Bond County Senator George Howard Taylor, has declared that victory is certain for the coalition in the December 26 polls. Addressing journalists at Hawk Capitol Building Office, the Bond County Senator indicated that the CDC is a people's movement that continues to receive massive endorsements from political parties, civil society institutions, prominent stakeholders, traditional leaders, religious organizations, as well as youth and students' organizations. She pointed out that the CDC standard bearer, Senator George Weah, has shown mature leadership and that the coalition has demonstrated to the Liberian people and the international community that it is a party ready for governance despite provocations and fake news from some members of the public. Senator Taylor then reiterated her commendation to citizens and the Liberian people in general for the confidence reposed in the CDC to lead the next administration. She admonished all registered voters to go out and cast their ballots for the CDC on December 26 and thereby retire it Basil Walker and the Unity Party. Meanwhile, the CDC advised standard bearer has assured the Unity Party and its supporters that the CDC-led government will not wish on anybody, that it will be a government preoccupied with the building of a reconciled and prosperous Liberia for the benefit of all Liberians irrespective of religion, ethnicity, and social status. That's the news bulletin. Is back to Augustine Kollie for the continuation of Newsnet.
Many thanks to Wholquoi Yeahgar for the news bulletin. Indeed, the news bulletin is a part of Newsnet on Nokia for 99.5. And this edition is relayed on the voice of Hope and Glebo, Maryland County. Story stopped in the program this morning. National Elections Commission sets December 26 for the conduct of the presidential runoff election. Liberian Senate summons National Elections Commission to state how it intends to clean up the final registration roll. Unity Party welcomes runoff election date announced by the National Elections Commission. And away from Liberia, more than 170 people have died in the last weekend clashes between two sub-clans in South Sudan, an MP has said. With that, we take our first development. The National Elections Commission has set December 26 for the conduct of the presidential runoff election. The election is between the Coalition for Democratic Change and the governing Unity Party. Making the disclosure Tuesday, NEC Chairman Jerome Wholquoi said the announcement of the date is in keeping with the mandate from the Supreme Court.
Pursuant to the mandate of the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia to the National Elections Commission, I am pleased to announce that the 2017 presidential runoff elections will be conducted on Tuesday, December 26, 2017. We realize that this date is immediately after Christmas Day, but call on all registered voters to make this one sacrifice for the good of our democracy and country. Accordingly, campaign for the runoff elections is hereby declared open and will close at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, December 24, 2017. We call on the two political parties in the runoff election, the Unity Party and the Coalition for Democratic Change, go about their campaign in a peaceful manner. I am also pleased to announce that the technical team of ECOWAS that review our final voter roll will be returning to the country today to provide any technical assistance needed with the implementation of the mandate of the Honorable Supreme Court. Ladies and gentlemen of the press and the commission, we just assure the two political parties, the Liberian people, that is the two political parties in the runoff, the Liberian people, that we will implement all outcomes of the Supreme Court mandate in a transparent manner, and will keep all stakeholders, including the parties in the runoff election, updated every step of the way.
The chairman of the National Elections Commission, Councillor Jerome Wholquoi, announcing December 26 as the date for the conduct of the presidential runoff election. The Liberian Senate has summoned the National Elections Commission to state how it intends to clean up the final registration roll. Members of the Senate voted that the chairman of NEC, Jerome Wholquoi, and other commissioners appear next Tuesday, December 19, to state how it intends to treat the issue of electorates with voter cards who are not captured in the voters' roll. The Senate action was triggered by a communication from Senator Steve Zako of Lofa County The communication was read by the Assistant Secretary of the Senate, Genevieve Wholquoi.
To the effect of publishing and making available the final registration roll to all electoral magistrates for subsequent display at all polling places across the country. The cleaning up of the final registration roll wherein persons whose names were not on team should not be allowed to vote. That addendum of the FRR be limited to those within the NEC polling and counting manual. Now, officials of NEC refrain from making utterances on matters growing out of the runoff election, which would likely be issues of possible future electoral dispute, finally lifting the stay order previously placed on the runoff election. I'm pleased to crave your indulgence to invite the officials of NEC, including its chairman, to apprise this honorable body of how NEC intends to fix the problems associated with the election as contained within the modification of the Supreme Court opinion.
Genevieve Wholquoi is the Assistant Secretary at the Senate. The governing Unity Party has welcomed the runoff election date announced by the National Elections Commission. The party further promised to ensure that the Commission implements the mandate of the Supreme Court. According to Unity Party spokesman Mo Ali, the party remains firm on its call for proper cleaning of the final registration roll as recommended by the High Court.
Well, let me say cautiously it's a welcoming news. But we are also going to ensure that the National Elections Commission will implement the mandates of the Supreme Court, because that is a law. You remember during the argument, consistently the judges blamed the political parties for not ensuring that some of the things that went wrong at the Elections Commission were done. They told all you should have ensured that this happened. If the NEC had refused, you should have come to the court. You didn't do that. So the court has given a mandate. We are there. We will serve as the policemen to those mandates. If it is not done, we will go right back to the court. I just wanted to sound that caution so that the Elections Commission can tread within the confines of the law. Once we all live within the confines of the law, there will be no reason to go to the court. Yeah, I mean, people were just passing on radio stations, people to court, they want to go to election, things are getting hard. But now you people are interpreting the fact that political parties did not go to the street but went to the court. And it has put some semblance of respect in our court. That everybody in this country, opposition, ruling party, everyone were sitting to their radios, their Facebook pages, just wanting to listen to that Supreme Court ruling that day. It makes the Supreme Court to be where it is. It gives the Supreme Court that power, you know, in which people look up to them for final decision. And I think you people owe it to all to come and tell us, oh, thank you for you know, giving such a leverage to the Supreme Court. Yeah. Now, anybody saying, oh, they went to the court and the Supreme Court wrote things are even getting tougher. It's not like that. So we decided to respect this court because we think, like Ambrose said, if you must have a vibrant, functioning democracy, the court must be the bedrock. The judicial system must be the bedrock of that.
Okay.
Of that democracy.
But Mr.
Now, anybody who has a qualm will run to the court.
Okay.
And we always listen and abide.
Mo Ali, it's the campaign spokesperson of the governing Unity Party. They are welcoming the runoff election date announced by the National Elections Commission, for the promising to ensure that the Commission implements the mandate of the Supreme Court. The Executive Director of the National Commission on Disabilities has stressed the need for the rights of people living with disabilities to be respected in the country. Madam Ricardia Venice said people with disabilities must not be discriminated by their local, but must rather be seen as partners in progress.
Persons with disabilities make up an estimated 15% of the world's population, and majority live in developing countries. According to UNICEF, about
Persons with disabilities are among the most vulnerable and least empowered groups. And all too often, they experience stigma and discrimination with limited access to health, education, livelihoods, opportunities. Stakeholders see disability as a burden and try on several occasions to address it by giving handouts, which in no way can allow a person to be respected. The limited resources in many cases, as claimed, should have become an obstacle to the advancement of the enjoyment of the rights that we all should be enjoying. According to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, disability refers to those with long-term physical, mental, intellectual, and sexual impediments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal opportunity basis with others. From our local context, as I consider it, it is an interaction of persons with disabilities with the environment, those obstacles that are in the way. It is also the barriers that persons with disabilities meet.
The voice of Ricardia Venice, she's the executive director of the National Commission on Disabilities in Liberia. And she was serving as keynote speaker at the official program marking the International Human Rights Day in Bowman County. For his part, the acting chair of the Independent Human Rights Commission, Bartolome Kollie, called on community dwellers to respect the rights and dignity of everyone.
Then to close on the international that says we are all equal in dignity and rights. I want to appeal to the United Nations, to the European Union, and to the ECOWAS. Over the news in the last 1 month has been very alarming in Libya, where our girls has been completely exploited, and many people, young people, have turned into sex slaves, and their lives are exploited. This is not fine for the world. We have long since left that era where there was slavery, and today again we are seeing ourselves into a modern slavery. 2 days ago I saw one of the videos that was placed on Facebook, and it was humiliating. It was very, very ugly. I think the world should stand and do something about what is happening in Libya. That is an abuse of our human rights. We want to thank you so much, the international bodies, the national partners, and all of us that have come to be a part of this occasion. And I say, all of us in our communities have to keep the promise that we will institute the issue of human rights to preserve our dignities and the rights that belongs to every one of us.
Bartolome Kollie is the acting chair of the Independent Human Rights Commission here in Liberia. The Liberia National Police has confirmed the arrival of Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo in the country. Police spokesman Sam Collins said the LMP will regulate the traffic along the Kakata-Monrovia Highway. On the line now is Sam Collins to tell us more about this. Good morning, Mr. Collins. What is the purpose of the visit?
Well, let me just inform the public, like the regulator said in your intro, there will be some traffic regulations along the Monrovia Kakata Highway due to the visit of the President of Ghana to Liberia. The purpose of that visit can best be explained by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They have the authority to do so. But the President of Liberia also will be forming part of graduation exercises on the campus of the university, meaning the Fitna campus. And so traffic leading to the university will heavily be restricted beginning at 7 o'clock this morning in Carisburg. There will be a closure of the road, so travelers coming from Kakata to Monrovia will have to spend a few hours on the road being parked until the road can reopen at 8, and then by 8:15 it will be closed again. By that time, the president of Ghana will be making his way at the graduation, and also the president of Liberia. So we'd like to inform travelers along the Monrovia-Kakata Highway that intermittently they will face some level of inconvenience as it relates to the regulation put into place by the Liberia National Police along the route that I just made mention of.
Okay, yeah, with this latest news, there are not many of the drivers who are informed about this. How are they going to adhere to this, just in case if they come across you today at the areas you're speaking of?
We are just trying to re-echo the pronouncements via your radio station and other radio stations. We've been doing this since last night, and we believe that the message has somehow resonated with those who have already planned to travel along the route. So beginning at 7 o'clock this morning, and there will be no car allowed to leave the red light area to pass through Carisburg. And after the hour, meaning from 7 to 8, the road will remain open. By 7:15, we do expect the president of Ghana to be approaching that end to leave the Fitna. Then it will be closed again until he can and his entourage can get over to Fitna. And so we do like to inform the public, and we hope that the government said accordingly. And I would like to also inform the public that the National Election Security Task Force welcome the resumption of political activities. The police and other collaborative security agencies that have been taking care of election security are fully prepared to resume activity. The task force yesterday met under the watch of the Inspector General of Police and the Armed Forces of Liberia Chief of Staff. Our men are in top gear to be redeployed so that they can provide security for the run-off election expected to come up on the 26th of December. And also we are in full gear to provide security for the run-off election. We ask all electorates, we ask all citizens of the Republic of Liberia to cooperate with the deployment of our officers that will soon start. The deployment will soon start. And also that to give them any information that would be helpful in our job as it relates to providing security for these elections.
If I may ask, what role would the Ghanaian president play at the UR graduation, if you mind telling us?
You know what, my own responsibility this morning, Augustine, is to inform the public that the road will be closed at a certain point in time and reopen at a certain point in time, and that we believe there will be some inconveniences suffered by road users, especially those traveling from Kakata to Monrovia or Monrovia to Kakata and beyond Kakata. And so we will be taking some action on the road this morning. Now, what role the Ghanaian president will be playing, that is left with the protocol and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the executive mansion to explain. I don't want to jump on my own responsibility.
Okay.
But I've been informed by police authority that he's expected here this morning, and that he will somehow affect the usage of the road. And that is why I have the responsibility to inform the public. What would be a role at the level of the university that I don't know, and even if I knew, I would not explain it now because I don't have the authorization to do so. But what the authorization I have is that we are going to do some interventions on the road this morning, beginning at 7 o'clock between Monrovia, Carisburg, and Carisburg.
All right. Thank you very much, Sam Collins, for providing us the latest information. And that's the voice of police spokesman Sam Collins telling us about the LMP confirming the arrival of Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo in Liberia and informing drivers about some traffic regulations that have been put into place today. Let's take some of your comments on our Facebook page now. And James Naklaposo Fala says, good morning, OKFM, and to the peace-loving people of Busi Quarter, District 8, Montserrado County. And he says, Ambassador Joseph Yumabwaka welcomes the runoff election, but the voter roll must be very clean. It's observed that the mandate given by the Supreme Court of Liberia to NEC has not been implemented by Wholquoi and team at the NEC. This is the most disdainful commission ever in the history of Liberia's electionary process, while its Wholquoi refusing to give the hard copy of the FRR to the Unity Party. And Vala V. Dukley says, good morning, OKFM and the peace-loving people of Tusu. At long last, the date is set for the final battle. But to what extent is the National Elections Commission prepared to conduct the second round of election? And Sam J. Florich Walker says, good morning, OKFM Liberia. I must commend the National Elections Commission for announcing the date of the runoff election. I also want to use this meeting to call on all well-meaning and qualified voters to turn out on that day to vote. And this one from Mohammed Harry Family at Skamara says, good morning, OKFM and the peace-loving people of District 8. Please consider during Wholquoi, you should publish the FRR, else we will go back to the Supreme Court. And that is from Mohammed Horrifying at Skamara. Lai M. Kruman says, good morning, OKFM. The runoff election date is not bad, but during Wholquoi I should resign because he's not doing well. This Unity Party defeat is set by the NEC as the NEC announces the runoff date, and that is from Ahmad Kamara. Ahmad Kamara sends that on our Facebook page. Sam Sunshine Conley says, please, we as Liberians are desperately wanting for this cleaning up process by the NEC to be concluded speedily, or we might just end up like the past elections on October 10. More besides, would also welcome the decision of the Senate to summon the leadership of NEC as well. And Leo Mohammed Dukley says, good morning, OKFM. Good morning to the people of Kwado Bone District. OKFM, Wholquoi needs to go to the Senate and make further clarity about the cleaning up of the FRR before going to the poll and elect our leader. And that is from Leo Mohammed Dukley. And Samuel Satamba says, good morning, OKFM. NEC must clean up the FRR as mandated by the highest court of the land. And Augustus L. Guer II says, I'm very happy to hear about the date set for the runoff election. However, we are thankful to the Supreme Court for bringing all the hala during the October 10 elections to an end. Liberians, we are about to speak out our well-meaning sense. And he says, victory Liberia, victory Liberia. Roosevelt, the Power Temple Son says, good morning, OKFM. We, the people of Liberia, we are so happy for the date. We are going to vote on that day. And that is from Roosevelt, Power Temple Son. And he sends that on our Facebook page, OKFM Liberia. Mohammed Toure says, good morning, OKFM. Thanks to God for this great day scheduled for voting. We will all be there in full to exercise our right as citizens. After the celebration of the Christmas, followed by the voting. And Mohammed T. Toure writes from Benson Street. And Everson Gamayan says, good morning, OKFM. I agree with Senator Steve Zako for said communication. NEC needs to explain the cleaning up process to the peace-loving people of Liberia. God bless Liberia, and he writes from a GS Road community that in the Painesville. Alvin D. Yenambo says, good that the Senate is inviting NEC. I'm also concerned about which branch of government has the authority to make law like setting election date. Eduardo Yeahgar says, the date set by the NEC for the runoff is a big joke because the most cardinal thing about the process is the cleaning up of the FRR. Until it is done, Wholquoi is a joker. Eduardo Yeahgar sends that on our Facebook page. And Moritz Kilholm says, good morning, OKFM and the peace-loving people of the borough of Nukru Town, District 16, Montserrat County, having waited a long time for the National Elections Commission to make a final pronouncement of the runoff election. We can now sit and wait for December 26, 2017 to cast our vote. Let me quickly use the medium to call on all well-meaning Liberians to remain peaceful as we anticipate final date for the runoff. Moritz Kilholm's writes from St. Paul Bridge community. We continue with more local developments. A local student-based group, Fennel Students Association FENSA, has condemned the recent flocking of 5 of its members by the Student Unification Party, SUP. According to the group, some members of SUP on December 6 surrounded and flogged the guys while they were celebrating with a friend who had graduated from the J.R.L. Faulkner College of Science and Technology at the University of Liberia. Addressing reporters on Tuesday, the group Assistant Secretary General Emmanuel Williams asserted that the SUP members allegedly inflicted severe wounds on the peaceful students for no genuine reason.
We are pleased to inform the press, student body, and the general public about the unorthodox, barbaric, and inhuman act orchestrated by the chairman Budu Lever of the student-based political party called Student Unification Party on student Hillel W. Mark and other students at the University of Liberia. On Wednesday, December 6, 2017, at the 98th graduation ceremony of the J.R. Faulkner College of Science and Technology of the University of Liberia, we witnessed the arrival of students Hillel W. Mark, Paul Moywen, Ato Hoda, Thomas Zeze, Kate Yelu, who had gone to the ceremony to celebrate over 4 of their colleagues who were graduating from the Science College. While they were dancing and singing at the entrance of the academic complex, their circle was invaded by members of the Students' Unification Party. The perpetrators, who were armed with knives, cutlasses, and other sharp instruments, angry at the convergence of peaceful students who they thought were seeking the attention of many people who had gone to witness the program, inflicted serious casualty on them. It took the intervention of the Liberian National Police to have saved lives and property on the Fennel campus on December 6, 2017. We believe that this act of the chairman of SUP is an attempted murder, and it is counterproductive to the advancement of the growth and development of the University of Liberia and the country at large. As members of the proposed Fennel Student Association and students of the University of Liberia, we condemn this act in the superlative form and calling on the administration of the University of Liberia in collaboration with the Liberian National Police to bring these perpetrators to justice. In the struggle for the redemption of the economically challenged students of the University of Liberia, our advocacy is unquenchable. And our fundamental objective is to ensure sustainability of academic justice and peace on the campuses of the University of Liberia in order to promote.
Emmanuel Williams is the Assistant Secretary General of Fennel Students Association. Meanwhile, when contacted, the leadership of SUP said it will respond to the situation later this week. To this final local development, cross-section of citizens in District 5 in Maigibi County are expressing fear over open and abandoned holes in the area. According to the citizens, the abandoned holes in their various communities are posing threat to residents in the district. They explained to our reporter Emmanuel Sensi that local authorities in the county have ignored several appeals aimed at closing up the pop holes.
It is in the interior the interior parts of my Gibi. For that reason, they are afraid that one of these days their children going to school on the way may fall into the hole, and the hole is very deep that they may not be able to at least see the kids. So that those are things that they are afraid of. They are calling on authorities of the company to go back to those areas and make sure that they can be able to close those holes in the entire clan, Bolana Township.
But what are authorities saying about it?
Well, we spoke to some of those authorities, especially the chiefs of the towns, and what they said, well, they're saying things. They're saying that they have gone to the black manager, asking them to get the holes closed, but unfortunately for them, they were always like promised, but they can't come back to fulfill their promises. So they have decided to take other steps which they did not disclose.
Yes, you said Wind Rock dug those holes. What were they looking for?
Rock. They actually came for rock out of the ground. Those rock they took out of the ground. They took it out, but they also use other land. I mean, it's in District 5 where James Emmanuel Nukwe is the representative. So they are saying that they will reach to Nukwe to also stress this out to him. Maybe they have not reached his table yet, so they're thinking over the weekend to visit him.
Emmanuel Sensi is OKFM's my Gibi County correspondent. Before crossing over to our new Center for the International Developments, let's bring you this final batch of comments on our Facebook page. Micah Think a Positive Bando says, good morning OK Newsnet and your valued listeners. Bravo to the neck for the pronouncement of the election date, but the possibility of election to be held on said date is slim. Reason being is that too much requests by the unity parties such as resignation of neck boss, cleaning of the FRR, etc. They shouldn't use this as another delayed tactic for us to run into constitutional crisis. The Michael Think Positive Bando writes from Fiaman, Welse Community District 9, Mansuradu County. And Samantha B. Tamba says, hi, okay, that we take. Otello Brown says, I must deploy all Liberians for maintaining the peace through this electoral endeavor, but calling on Vice President Joseph Boakai to give Liberia her deserved respect. And Blamo Davis says, thanks, NEC, for releasing the calendar of events on the run of elections. Please, eligible voters, consider my urge by avoiding the streets, nightclubs, and other personal issues on Christmas Day that would hinder you from shouldering your national responsibility on election day. 2. The House of Senate might be right to summon Councillor Jerome Kokoya, but at this juncture, I think they could have buttressed to the 8 counts by the Supreme Court, considering the legal unrest he went through recently. What kind of zigzag campaign spokesman the Unity Party has? He said that Councillor Kokoya should resign. That's the only way the party will repose trust in NEC. Today he is talking to his partisans to remain calm, specifying that NEC should respect the order of the Supreme Court, while he never gave heed to that first before calling for the resignation of the NEC boards. And that is from Blamo. Then we cross over to Wholquoi Yeahgar to bring us the international development.
The UN has warned of the rise in trafficking of the synthetic oppium chamada across West Africa. As one official revealed, it is being found in the pockets of suicide bombers. Seizures of the drug have skyrocketed since 2013, from 300 kilograms to more than 3 tons a year, the UN's Office on Drugs and Crime said. In September, the 3 million pills in UN-locked buses were found in Niger. The oppium is known to be popular with Islamic militants Boko Haram. More than 170 people have died in the last week in clashes between 2 sub-clans in South Sudan, and MP has said. The violence in the Western Lakes region has also seen more than 200 people injured. Local MP added, despite clashes being relatively common, the third from the latest outbreak is shocking, reports the BBC from Nairobi. It has prompted President Salva Kiir to declare a state of emergency. Alabama voters are heading to the polls in a Senate election that could have wider implications for Donald Trump. Republican candidate Roy Moore, a former Alabama judge who is embroiled in allegations of child sex abuse, has been endorsed by the U.S. president. Trump's support is at odds with much of the Republican establishment, who have distanced themselves from the 70-year-old Christian conservative. And the man who faces terror charges over Monday's bus terminal bombing in New York posted a warning to President Donald Trump just before they attacked. They say the 27-year-old Bangladeshi immigrant carried out the bombing in support of the Islamic State group. He wounded himself and 3 others in Monday morning's attack. That's the foreign news.
On that note, that's how we take leave of you on this edition of Newsnet. But just before we walk away, a recap of the top stories. National Elections Commission sets December 26, 2017 for the conduct of the presidential runoff election. Liberian Senate summons National Elections Commission to state how it intends to clean up the final registration roll. Unity Party welcomes runoff election date announced by the National Elections Commission. And away from home, more than 170 people have died in last week in clashes between 2 sub-clans in South Sudan, an MP has said. Wholquoi Yeahgar was here with the news bulletin and the international developments. Eddie Poonen ably handled all of the sounds. The Voice of Hope in Cleveland, Maryland counter relay this edition. For more news, you can go to our Facebook page on OKFM Liberia. My name is Augustine Kollie. Thanks for listening.